Betrayal at 5 Poppies. Vaughn's shocking final revelation shatters Joss's world. The tension reaches a devastating crescendo at the 5 Poppies resort, as Jocelyn Jax faces the most harrowing moments of her WSB career, leading to a revelation that will forever change her understanding of the truth she thought she knew. The mission falls apart. The picturesque Croatian coastline of the 5 Poppies resort has become a powder keg of secrets and deception, where Jocelyn Jax and her WSB handler Vaughn have been operating under the guise of newlyweds. Their carefully orchestrated mission to investigate Professor Henry Dalton's shady tech dealings was already fraught with complications, but nothing could have prepared them for the explosive confrontation that would tear their partnership apart. The argument erupts in their luxury suite as Vaughn makes a decision that sends shockwaves through their carefully constructed operation. His face is stern and resolute as he delivers the devastating news to Joss. "You're off the mission," Vaughn declares, his voice carrying the weight of authority that Joss has come to both respect and resent during their time together. The revelation that Britt Westburn is alive and present at the same resort has changed everything, creating complications that Vaughn believes Joss cannot handle professionally. Joss's eyes flash with a mixture of fury and disbelief. After months of rigorous training, after proving herself capable time and again, after sacrificing her relationship with her mother Carly to maintain her cover, Vaughn is dismissing her like an amateur. "You can't be serious," she protests, her voice rising with indignation. "I've earned my place here, Vaughn. I've done everything asked of me and more." But Vaughn remains unmoved by her arguments. The discovery of Britt's presence has introduced personal complications that he believes compromise Joss's ability to maintain objectivity. He cites protocol, safety concerns, and the increasing danger of their situation as justification for his decision. The heated exchange escalates as Joss realizes that despite all her training and dedication, she's still being treated as Jack Brennan's pet project rather than a legitimate operative. The deadly ambush. Joss storms out of their suite in a rage, her mind reeling from the humiliation and frustration of being sidelined at such a crucial moment. She paces the resort corridors, trying to process the injustice of Vaughn's decision and planning her next move. But fate has other plans for both of them. As Joss wrestles with her emotions in the hallway, a figure dressed in resort staff clothing approaches Vaughn's room with calculated stealth. The man's movements are precise and predatory, suggesting extensive training in covert operations. He produces a master keycard and silently enters the suite, where Vaughn is gathering intelligence files, preparing to continue the mission without his partner. The attack is swift and brutal. The assassin strikes without warning, overpowering Vaughn before he can reach his weapon. The sounds of struggle echo through the suite as furniture crashes and glass shatters. Vaughn, despite his extensive combat training, finds himself at a severe disadvantage against an opponent who clearly has the element of surprise. Joss hears the commotion from the hallway and immediately recognizes the sounds of violence. Her WSB training kicks in, overriding her anger as she realizes her partner is in mortal danger. She rushes back toward their suite, her heart pounding as she understands that their cover has been blown, and their lives are now hanging in the balance. A split-second decision. Bursting through the door, Joss is confronted with a scene of chaos and violence. Vaughn is on the ground, blood seeping from multiple wounds, while the assassin stands over him with a gun raised for the killing shot. In that split second, every moment of her WSB training crystallizes into pure instinct. Without hesitation, Joss draws her concealed weapon and fires. The shot echoes through the suite with devastating finality as the assassin crumples to the ground, his mission incomplete. The silence that follows is deafening, broken only by Vaughn's labored breathing and the distant sound of waves crashing against the Croatian coastline. Joss rushes to Vaughn's side, her hands shaking as she assesses his injuries. The wounds are severe, and she can see the light beginning to fade from his eyes. Despite their recent argument, despite the professional tensions between them, Vaughn has been her mentor, her partner, and in many ways, her lifeline in the dangerous world of international espionage. "Vaughn, stay with me," she pleads, applying pressure to his wounds while simultaneously checking the assassin to ensure he poses no further threat. The dead man's face is unfamiliar, but his equipment and methods suggest professional training that goes far beyond typical criminal operations. The devastating truth revealed. As Joss works frantically to stabilize Vaughn's condition, he grabs her wrist with surprising strength for someone so grievously wounded. His eyes, filled with urgency and regret, lock onto hers as he struggles to speak words that will shatter everything she believes about her world. Joss, he gasps, blood flecking his lips as he fights to remain conscious. There's something you need to know. Something Brennan never told you. The desperation in his voice makes Joss pause in her medical efforts. She can see that Vaughn is using his final moments of clarity to share information that he considers more important than his own survival. The gravity of his expression tells her that whatever he's about to reveal will change everything. Cyrus Renault, Vaughn whispers, each word a struggle against the darkness closing in around him. He's not dead, Joss. Brennan lied to you about everything. The words hit Joss like a physical blow, stealing the breath from her lungs and sending her mind reeling. The memory of that night in Cyrus's cabin floods back fear, the violence, the moment she pulled the trigger to save her own life, the trauma she's carried, the guilt she's wrestled with, the secret she's kept from her mother, all of it built on a foundation of deception. What do you mean? She demands, her voice barely above a whisper. But even as she asks the question, pieces of a larger puzzle begin falling into place. Brennan's mysterious appearances, his convenient solutions, his recruitment of her into the WSBIT all takes on a sinister new meaning. Vaughn's grip tightens as he summons the last of his strength. The body. It wasn't Cyrus. Brennan staged it all. He's been using you, Joss. Using your guilt, your fear, to control you. The web of manipulation unraveled. As Vaughn's revelation sinks in, Joss begins to see the elaborate manipulation that has defined her life for months. Brennan's recruitment wasn't about recognizing her potential as an agent. Was about exploiting her vulnerability and trauma to create a perfectly controlled operative. The man she trusted, the organization she served, everything has been built on lies designed to keep her compliant and isolated from those who might help her see the truth. You don't have to be his agent anymore, Vaughn continues, his voice growing weaker with each word. You don't owe him anything. You never did. Find the truth, Joss. Find Cyrus. Find out what Brennan really wants. The implications are staggering. If Cyrus is alive, then Joss never committed murder. The guilt that has driven her every decision, the secret that has poisoned her relationship with her mother, the justification for Brennan's control over her life, all of it evaporates in an instant, replaced by a rage so pure and fierce that it threatens to consume her entirely. Why, she asks, though she knows Vaughn may not have the strength to answer. Why would he do this to me? Vaughn's eyes are growing distant, but he forces himself to focus on her one last time. Because you're Carly's daughter. Because you're connected to people he needs to control. Because you're the perfect weapon when you think you have no choice. A life forever changed. As Vaughn's breathing becomes more labored, Joss realizes that she's witnessing the death of the only person who cared enough to tell her the truth. The man who argued with her, who frustrated her, who ultimately tried to protect her by removing her from the mission, has given his life to free her from Brennan's web of deception. Vaughn, please, she pleads, but his eyes have already lost their focus. His final breath escapes in a whisper that sounds almost like relief, as if sharing the truth has lifted a burden he's carried for too long. Joss sits back on her heels, Vaughn's blood on her hands and his words echoing in her mind. The Five Poppies Resort, with its beautiful facade and hidden dangers, has become the place where her old life died and something new was born. She's no longer the guilt-ridden young woman who accepted Brennan's offer out of desperation. She's no longer the dutiful agent who followed orders without question. She's someone who has been betrayed by those she trusted most, but who now has the knowledge and the fury needed to fight back. The game has changed, and Joss Jacks is about to become a player rather than a pawn in someone else's scheme. As sirens begin to wail in the distance and the reality of the situation starts to crystallize, Joss knows that her journey is far from over. She has an assassin to explain, a mission to complete, and most importantly, a truth to uncover that will expose Brennan's manipulation and potentially save not just herself, but everyone else caught in his web of deception. The Five Poppies Resort has witnessed the end of Joss's innocence and the birth of her determination to reclaim her life from those who would control it. Vaughn's sacrifice will not be in vain, and the truth he died to reveal will become the weapon she uses to destroy the lies that have defined her world. Next, we will learn about the romantic dry spell hitting Port Charles, and how Cupid might just need to swoop in with some much-needed arrows for these fabulous single ladies navigating love's tricky waters in the bustling, drama-filled streets of Port Charles, New York, where secrets simmer and passions ignite. It seems like the god of love has been taking an extended vacation, leaving several of General Hospital's most captivating women in a state of romantic limbo. These fierce, independent ladies, each with their own blend of strength, vulnerability, and undeniable charme, ripe for new connections that could spark fireworks across the canvas. From high-stakes law enforcement entanglements to glamorous social whirlwinds and youthful heartbreaks, the single scene is buzzing with potential. Imagine Cupid, bow in hand, hovering over the iconic skyline, ready to matchmake amid the chaos of mob dealings, family feuds, and hospital heroics. Adding a fresh twist to this narrative, perhaps a mysterious love potion slips into the Quartermain coffee supply, subtly influencing chance encounters at places like the Metro Court, setting the stage for unexpected pairings that could redefine relationships in this soap opera haven. As we dive into the lives of Anna Devane, Nina Reeves, and Trina Robinson, let's explore why they're prime candidates for a romantic revival, and what tantalizing possibilities lie ahead. First up is the formidable Anna Devane, a woman who commands respect with her badge pinned firmly to her side, embodying the essence of a dedicated law enforcer who's seen it all from international espionage to local scandals. Yet, beneath that tough exterior beats a heart longing for companionship, someone to share quiet evenings and perhaps a dance or two under the stars. For a brief, electrifying period, it looked like Valentine Casadini could be that perfect match, their chemistry sizzling with shared history and mutual intrigue. But Valentine's penchant for trouble weighs one step away from a shady deal or a narrow escape makes building a stable romance feel like chasing shadows in the dark. It's exhausting to love someone who's perpetually on the run, dodging authorities and weaving webs of deception, inventing a new element to heighten the drama. Picture Anna reflecting on this during a solitary walk along the Port Charles docks, the lapping waves mirroring her turbulent emotions as she recalls the stolen kiss with Valentine that ended in yet another betrayal, leaving her wary of opening up again. Now, whispers in the wind suggest a spark with Jack Brennan, the enigmatic figure who's been trading verbal jabs with her lately, their banter laced with tension and unspoken attraction, their long, colorful past filled with covert operations and near-misses adds layers of complexity, making them a duo worth watching. Once Carly Spencer uncovers Brennan's schemes involving her daughter, he'll need a powerhouse partner like Anna to navigate the fallout, someone who can match his cunning with her own unyielding resolve. What do you think? Could Brennan be the arm candy Anna deserves? Or is this just another recipe for heartbreak? Shifting our gaze to the radiant Nina Reeves, a true socialite whose beauty and charisma light up any room she enters, fluttering through Port Charles like a butterfly in a garden of intrigue. She's got solid companionship in the form of the sharp-tongued Ava Jerome and the eccentric Liesel Obrecht, forming a trio that's equal parts supportive. And Shemingthal lets sidestep the complicated dynamics with her daughter Willow Tate for now. As that wound runs deep, Nina's life is a whirlwind of events, from gallery openings to high society brunches, but it's missing that romantic zing to make her days truly sparkle. Could a reunion with sunny Corinthos be on the horizon, reigniting the flames they kindled during those idyllic, amnesia-fueled days in Nixon Falls? Stranger twists have unfolded in General Hospital's storied history, like long-lost twins or miraculous resurrections. So why not a second chance for this passionate pair? Their connection was raw and real, built on vulnerability away from the mobster's empire. On a more playful note, we'd adore seeing Nina unleash her inner cougar, prowling for romance among the show's younger studs, especially with everyone stripping down to swimsuits at the steamy Metrocourt pool. These sultry afternoons, inventing an exciting new detail, envision Nina lounging by the water's edge, her designer sunglasses hiding a flirtatious glance toward a toned lifeguard, who's actually an undercover agent with ties to her past, sparking a forbidden attraction that blends age-defying allure with hidden dangers. Whether it's rekindling old fires or chasing fresh thrills, Nina's romantic future promises to be as bold and unpredictable as she is. Finally, let's turn to the vibrant Trina Robinson, a young woman whose heart has been put through the ringer, leading her to decisively end things with Kai Taylor after his shocking betrayal rocked her world and her family. Kai's true colors shone through when he turned informant for his patron, Drew Kane, spilling secrets that put Trina's parents in jeopardy and exposed him as nothing more than Drew's obedient underling. It was a gut-wrenching revelation, like discovering a trusted friend was wearing a mask all along. And good riddance to that chapter. Most fans are united in believing Trina deserves far better than a relationship built on shaky trust. With Kai out of the picture, The door swings wide open for new possibilities, and speculation is rife that Spencer Casadini, presumed lost but eternally hoped for, might be alive and poised for a dramatic return. Some theories tie him to an emerging mystery storyline, perhaps involving shadowy figures from his Casadini lineage who orchestrated a fake demise to protect him from greater threats. Adding an inventive layer to this intrigue, imagine Trina stumbling upon a cryptic postcard from an unknown sender, postmarked from an exotic locale, hinting at Spencer's survival and featuring a coded message that only she could decipher, drawing her into a web of adventure and rekindled romance. As Trina processes her pain, surrounded by the supportive embrace of friends like Jocelyn and her art studies at PCU, the stage is set for a love story that could heal old wounds and bring fresh excitement to her life. As Cupid prepares to aim his arrows at these deserving women, Port Charles is on the brink of romantic revolutions that could shake up alliances and ignite new passions. From Anna's potential sparring partner romance to Nina's cougar pursuits and Trina's hopeful reunions, the single ladies of General Hospital are ready for their happily ever afters, or at least some thrilling ever afters. What pairings are you rooting for? Next, we will learn about the high-tension plot twisting around Maxie Jones and her bold stance against shady dealings at Deception, as the shadowy Jen Sidwell plots to keep her silent in the most devious way possible. Deep in the heart of Port Charles, where corporate intrigue meets personal peril, Maxie Jones finds herself at a crossroads, determined to expose the tainted funds that mob kingpin Sonny Corinthos funneled into the beauty empire Deception. As a case stakeholder with a fierce sense of justice, Maxie has been vocal about her desire to alert the authorities, viewing the illicit investment as a ticking time bomb that could destroy everything she's worked for. This stance puts her at odds with her colleagues, who see discretion as the safer path. During a heated boardroom showdown, complete with glossy presentations and raised voices echoing off the walls, Lucy Coe, the ever-flamboyant entrepreneur, Tracy Quartermain, the no-nonsense powerhouse, and Brooklyn Quartermain, the savvy strategist, all cast their votes to bury the secret and avoid legal entanglements. Maxie, standing alone in her conviction, voted firmly against them, her eyes flashing with determination as she argued for transparency, adding an inventive new layer to this corporate clash. Perhaps Maxie had prepared a confidential dossier of financial discrepancies, hidden in her designer purse, ready to present as evidence if push came to shove, highlighting her proactive role in uncovering the web of corruption tied to Sonny's empire. The plot thickens as Lucy Coe, in a moment of loose-lipped indiscretion made over a cocktail at the Metrocourt loungelets, slipped to the enigmatic Jen Sidwell that Maxie was the lone dissenter in the vote. Sidwell, a mysterious operator with fingers in multiple pies, including underground schemes that thrive on secrecy, immediately senses a threat brewing. He's already on edge, knowing Maxie's moral compass could lead her straight to the police station. Unraveling his carefully laid plans, this revelation hits him like a splash of cold water, amplifying his paranoia about loose ends in his operations. To make matters worse, Sidwell recently crossed paths with the rugged Cody Bell and Maxie's adorable son, James West, during a seemingly innocent afternoon at the bustling Metrocourt pool, where kids splashed in the water and adults lounged under colorful umbrellas. In a childlike burst of honesty, young James casually mentioned that his mom had something crucial to discuss with his grandfather, Mac Scorpio, the stern and respected chief of police detectives. This innocent chatter, perhaps accompanied by James building sandcastles with pool toys, sends alarm bells ringing in Sidwell's mind, painting Maxie as an imminent danger who could blow the whistle at any moment. Inventing an extra element of suspense, envision Sidwell retreating to a private cabana afterward, furiously texting his associates about this kid's slip-up, ordering surveillance on Maxie's daily routines to gauge her next move. With the clock ticking and Maxie's potential chat with Mac looming like a storm cloud, Sidwell realizes he must intervene swiftly to protect his grand scheme, involving Measure K cryptic initiative that could reshape power dynamics in Port Charles. If exposed, any leak about Sonny's dirty money in Deception would derail everything, forcing Sidwell to think several steps ahead in this chess game of deception. He's not one to leave things to chance. Instead, he hatches a calculated plan to neutralize the threat without resorting to outright violence, preferring manipulation over mayhem. To draw Maxie out and ensure her silence, Sidwell orchestrates the abduction of little James, but with strict instructions to his henchmen that the boy must remain unharmed. Perhaps treating him to ice cream and games in a hidden safe house to keep him calm and clueless. Maxie, upon discovering her son's disappearance made through a frantic call from his babysitter while she's juggling work call, plunges into a whirlwind of panic, her world shattering as she imagines the worst. Desperate to avoid escalating the situation, she chooses to keep the PCPD and Mac out of the loop, fearing it could endanger James further, and instead follows a series of anonymous directives delivered via encrypted messages or dropped notes, leading her on a nerve-wracking path through shadowy alleys and forgotten warehouses. As Maxie arrives at the designated rendezvous point, her heart pounding and voice echoing in the dimly lit space, she calls out desperately for James, her maternal instincts overriding any fear for her own safety. Sidwell, lurking in the shadows like a puppet master, emerges with calculated poise, while one of his operatives steps forward to assure her that no harm will come to the child. Their boss simply seeks a guarantee that she won't spill the beans about the fraudulent funds tied to deception. Trembling but resolute, Maxie agrees to anything, her only priority being her son's safe return, perhaps even pleading with tears streaming down her face as she recalls precious family moments, like bedtime stories and park outings. But Sidwell, ever the skeptic, isn't convinced by mere words. He signals his men to seize her, declaring that he can't risk her changing her mind. In a twist of mercy, he orders James to be escorted back home unharmed, maybe with a toy or treat to soften the ordeal, inventing a dramatic new detail. Picture Maxie catching a fleeting glimpse of James being led away safely through a cracked door, her cries muffled as she's blindfolded, adding a poignant layer of emotional torment to her captivity. Back in the familiar chaos of Port Charles, James is returned to the care of Damien Spinelli, the tech-savvy ally who's been like a surrogate uncle, who breathes a sigh of relief upon seeing the boy safe and sound. Curious about the absence of details, Spinelli gently probes, only for James to innocently recount how everyone treated him kindly, perhaps mentioning fun activities like playing video games. During his brief adventure, this odd normalcy raises red flags, but the real alarm sets in when Maxie fails to appear, her phone going straight to voicemail and her usual haunts empty. Her tight-knit circle, including the worried Mac and Felicia Scorpio, who pace their home frantically coordinating search parties, along with loyal friends rallying at the Crimson offices, descend into hysteria, fearing the worst in a town notorious for vanishings and vendettas. Meanwhile, Sidwell spirits Maxie away to a secluded hideout, perhaps a remote cabin on the outskirts of town, equipped with basic comforts to ensure her well-being, intending to hold her there only until the pivotal Measure C vote concludes. His goal isn't malice but self-preservation. He needs her sidelined just long enough to execute his ambitions without interference, monitoring the situation from afar while she contemplates her predicament in isolation. As this gripping saga unfolds, the questions swirl like autumn leaves in Port Charles. Will Sidwell indeed use the heart-wrenching tactic of kidnapping James to bait Maxie into his trap? Could he go so far as to make her vanish from the canvas until the Measure C dust settles, keeping her under wraps in a bid for control? And when might we see the resilient Maxie Jones make her triumphant return to the streets of Port Charles, armed with newfound resolve? Share your predictions in the comments below, and stay tuned for more explosive General Hospital spoilers.